intimate conversations with wedding professionals as they share their stories, insights, and tips from inside the wedding industry. We'll chat about how to be authentic and that it's okay not to be perfect or run your business like someone else's Instagram. Let's dive into the privilege it is to serve our clients and discover the talented creatives that make up our community. When we share what we know and who we are, we better serve our couples as a wedding day team, as well as each other. Simply put, Be Fabbo. Now here's your host, BobbiBrinkman.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Pride episode, and hopefully you got some insights and some tips. And instead of always trying to maybe book a same-sex couple, don't forget to reach out and be inclusive to your fellow wedding pros. I just felt that sometimes that gets forgotten in all the things that we're trying to do equality-wise and inclusion-wise. Don't forget to include your fellow wedding pros. So once again, thank you guys for sending in these questions. I really appreciate these questions. And again, if you guys need to hear more from me on this topic or any other wedding education topic, I'd love to come to your groups and your conferences. And again, you can find that over at my website, BobbiBrinkmanPhotography.com, on the education page. So here are some questions, and I'm going to kind of go with them a little bit in order. I just printed them off. I didn't really write them down in order. But I'm also going to share with you some questions that same-sex couples are looking for from their vendors. So I wanted to make sure that I give both sides of the coin, per se. But one of the things is, Bobby, how do I let same-sex couples know that I'm inclusive and that I'm LGBT friendly? And that's easy, guys. You have to let us know. And that goes for wedding pros, too. You have to let other wedding pros know. But if I don't know that you're same-sex friendly, LGBTQ friendly, it's going to be hard for a couple to know that that's searching for you. So you have to use inclusive language on your website, marketing materials, and social media. And while I really want to get to a point where we just call these weddings and we stop breaking them down by category, 2 brides, 2 grooms, same sex, transgender. Heck, I don't even enjoy breaking them down to Jewish wedding or church wedding. But that's the world we live in, where we're all descriptive and we're using nouns to describe, and hence we have social media as Instagram, where things are trackable and findable by searching a hashtag. So 2019, 50 years later after Stonewall, here we are, and I am thrilled that we are still talking and that the conversation is still going on about equality, and that 4 years ago, marriage equality became a law, and we're talking about it. So if you do not have anything on your website, start there. There are many places that you can go and get a badge or get a little sticker per se, or simply just use the words gay friendly, LGBTQ, open to all. That's on your website. If you're participating in the Knot or Wedding Wire, both those platforms have the badge you can download that lets everybody know that means you're gay friendly and that means you're accepting and open to all. And again, I remind you, just because you're inclusive and think you're fighting diversity with LGBTQ, don't forget that African Americans and Jewish couples and all couples want to feel loved and welcomed by you. So don't forget that being equal and accepting, it's bigger than just the gay community. But you want to do that. And you want to change your phrases. We talked a little bit on that. You might want to tag St. Louis gay wedding vendor, or you might want to tag Tennessee gay wedding photographer, or 2 brides, 2 grooms. Heck, even do LGBTQ history. When you hashtag those, that's going to get put in a lot of feeds. And again, these are big hashtags, guys, so you know that you're going to fall way far down on the list. but at least you're doing something on social media. And then the easiest thing is without telling us, is you've got to show some pictures. You've got to show some of those love stories. And I know that's hard. I know that a lot of you guys want to be inclusive and you want to do same-sex weddings. And I applaud you all for not just wanting to do it for the bottom line. I applaud you guys for wanting to do it because it's the right thing to do. And so many of you guys come from that place of intention to do so. So you're going to have to go out and get some same-sex weddings to photograph. So part 2 of that question was, are gay and lesbian style shoots acceptable? So those 2 questions, how do people know, and style shoots, kind of go hand in hand. I think that doing style shoots is wonderful. Whether it's a straight wedding or a gay wedding or wanting to showcase any particular aspect of a wedding, I think your clients have to know that this was a styled shoot, not an actual shoot on the day of the wedding, because let's face it, none of us have that amount of time that goes into a style shoot. Those are productions all on their own, and we are the beauty of being able to photograph or participate or do floral arrangements, bring furniture, all on a certain amount of time, and that we're not rushed to get to point A to point B and we don't have a bunch of guests. So if you're going to do a style shoot, please, 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 please reach out to same-sex couples. And this is your opportunity to also reach out to biracial same-sex couples. Reach out to African-American same-sex couples. Then you can do quite a few things within this shoot that show that you are diverse and inclusive. And it's just better to go off and get same-sex couples to represent themselves, please. And again, you can do a call to action. You can put on your Instagram or your Facebook, hey, looking for same-sex couples for an upcoming photo shoot. Love to do a towel shoot. I'm working with all these wonderful vendors that would love to tell more of your stories. And in order to do so, we want to create a photo shoot around you and showcase our talents. Then you get together with your wonderful collaborative group of gay-friendly vendors, and you guys proceed on doing a shoot. And then you can each share those. And then don't forget to submit those. Too Bright Lights is a great place to start submitting. Megan Brown, she's up on the episode coming up next week from Too Bright Lights. And they make it very easy. And they have a lot of same-sex publications. And again, everybody, that's what it's going to take for more and more couples to find you, is they have to see their representation. They have to see themselves in our wedding industry, in our marketing, and in our promotional pieces, and on our blogs, and on our website. So the more that we can show, the more that people know we're welcoming. So those are the 2 things right off the bat that you need to do. Get on your website, work on that, just like on my website, right off the bat. As soon as you get there, everyone's welcome here. No matter who you love, how you love, everyone's welcome here. And you got to do the same thing. You don't need a big rainbow banner going across your dashboard or anything, but you got to include some symbols that let us know that you're LGBTQ plus friendly. Those are the 2 places to start, and then we'll talk a little bit about how on your promo pieces and your website and marketing materials, stop using the word bride. You guys got to start using just the word couple. I mean, I have my contact form has your name and your fiance, and then when it comes back Susan and Mary, I'm going to address them as Susan and Mary. Don't get too hung up on all these initials that we have in the gay community. I can't even keep up with them, to be honest. But they each mean something special. They each mean something very, very important, and you do not want to use offensive language of any manner with any couple. So you are going to have to get to know your alphabet with the LGBTQ plus community. And that's as simple as doing a Google search. Search what the initials stand for. Search the definition of each one of those. But right off the bat, guys, when a couple inquires to you because you've put out there that you are all welcoming and that you are a safe place, call them by their name, just like you do your straight couples, until you get to know them. Then they'll explain to you if they want to be called bride, or if they want to be called bride number 1 or bride number 2, or if they want to be called groom. Or they want to be called spouse. It's not for us to decide what to call them. They have their names. Let's use their names. If they're by all means a doctor, professor, give them the title that they've earned in that category. But just start off calling them their names. Once they feel safe with you, and once they feel that they can have an open conversation and a candid conversation like we're having today, they'll let you know how to address them. And they'll let you know what they want to be called. And I think you'd be surprised that it's pretty easy. Most of us just like to be called our name. That is actually the most flattering name you can call anybody. The most important name you can call anybody is to call them by their name, by their given name. So same-sex couples feel the same way. So lots of times a gay couple just simply has the fear of reaching out and filling out a contact form or filling out an email, and then the fear of pushing that send button or picking up that phone and calling because they don't know what the reaction will be. Are you going to email back Bible verses? Are you going to email back that you don't believe in homosexuality? Are you going to email back? It's scary. Even in 2019, it's still scary for the gay community because almost all of them have lived with some sort of name calling or bullying, and it is still just hard to feel okay to do that. And if you don't have anything on your site that says you're accepting or that you show you're accepting, they're going to be less inclined to have the faith and the strength and the courage to hit that send button or to pick up that phone and call. So you just have to do that. And they, honest to gosh, want to be treated just like all your other couples, but there just has to be some changes to be made. And if you start doing it right away by changing all your verbiage, get rid of the word bride. It's not the bridal party. I've never called it that anyway. It's the wedding party. It's not just the bride's friends, but it's the wedding party. Get rid of using bride and groom on your forms. And yes, you know what, you guys, you're going to make some mistakes, and the gay community knows that you're going to make some mistakes. The gay community makes mistakes, but they know you're going to slip up once in a while and maybe send an old piece of paper because let's face it, it's only been 4 years it's been legal, and even in the 4 years, it's still such a small market. Same-sex weddings are still such a small market in the vast wedding industry market that just doing same-sex weddings is not going to help you pay your mortgage or sustain you in a business. But the more that they see themselves and the more that weddings are accepted and the more that couples want to get married. And this young generation is going to want to get married, guys. They're going to want to go off to college. They want to graduate with their honors. And their next step is going to be saying I do and then buying a house and heading off into the career. So it's coming. Will it be as big as heterosexual weddings? I don't think so, because I think there's still a lot of people in my age and my generation that never thought they were going to get married. So getting married really isn't something that they're going to want to often do. But don't be surprised that, like I said earlier in the other episode part, celebrating 25 and 50 years, that they might just want to have a small wedding. So don't think that it's the big business that you might think it is, but it is a good business, and it's an honest business, and it is a business that will bless you by accepting same-sex couples. But again, you've just got to be gender neutral. You just have to be removing the bride and groom. And again, we say it every weekend. The DJs, and sadly, I've had DJs at my wedding just out of sheer doing it every single Saturday. They met, no disrespect. I've had 2 women be announced. Everybody welcome Mr. and Mrs. and they use their last name. And you know what? Nobody stopped and threw a fit, but it was recognized. It was known. And I think sometimes the gay community just figures you're going to make these mistakes, and they've spent their whole lives just accepting mistakes. So they're not going to call you out, but it's just hard. So the way to do that is stop saying bride and groom. Just, if anything, say, hey, here's Susie and Mary, and call them by their name until they tell you differently, and everything should be okay. Are there gay and lesbian wedding shows that would benefit me if I attended? Hey, you know your business. You know if wedding shows work for your type of business, and if wedding shows work for you, by all means, I would definitely seek out in the area that you want to work at. I mean, the area that you may be working in right now may not have a gay wedding show, and you might have to go to a bigger market, and that's maybe where the gay couples are getting married, and you need to be able to service that area as well as service that couple. So I'm not here to tell you if gay wedding shows are any better than same-sex wedding shows, or same-sex wedding shows are any better than a mixed wedding show, or the combination of all. I can tell you that wedding shows are making strides, and they're doing wonderful improvements. My good friends own the Atlanta Perfect Wedding Guide, Charlotte Perfect Wedding Guide, and St. Louis Perfect Wedding Guide, and I can tell you that spent many hours chatting with them and talking with them, and they were one of the first wedding shows that got rid of that bride sticker and that groom sticker. They just have stickers that say I'm getting married. So they announce, and in their promotional pieces and in all their social media, they put on there, all couples welcomed. We have wedding vendors that are gay friendly. They make sure that there's inclusion. They make sure that everybody that participates is willing to talk to a same-sex couple. High five to them and props for leading that a few years ago, long before marriage equality even happened, as a matter of fact. But, seek out those shows, and you can find those by doing a Google, gay wedding shows in certain areas. And again, if it feels like it's beneficial for you, and you can definitely go meet other vendors, so the networking, or as I like to call it, connecting, always works out well. So you at least meet other like-minded people. But you can also, if you're, like I said, you're part of the Knot and Wedding Wire, those are places that you can get the badge, and you might even check with them to see if there's something local you might be able to do. And as always, if you can't find something that's of interest to you, start something on your own. Maybe go out and get a couple more of those collaborative vendors that you just worked with on that style shoot, and say, hey, we want to take a Friday evening and do meet future couples and tailor it. I don't know how you could say you want to be inclusive and diversified and keep heterosexual couples out, but make it more gay friendly and let the couples know that that's something you can do. Another question is there any groups or affiliation, Bobby, that we could participate in that might help us understand more about the LGBTQ community and let the couples know? Sure. My gosh, there's Rainbow Weddings. There is Equally Wed. As a matter of fact, the owners and proprietors of that are coming up on an upcoming podcast. Equally Wed and Equally Wed Pro. They've created a certification class for understanding gay weddings and how they work, so that you can be certified. So if a couple is looking out for you, this new young generation is all about the experiences that you can provide and the experience that you have. So they may be looking for somebody who is certified. So definitely check out Equally Wed Pro if you're a professional vendor. They have Instagram and on their website, and maybe see about signing up to take that certification class. It definitely can't hurt. And they're also, any of these groups, Rainbow Weddings is a nationwide directory. Again, I can't tell you where to put your advertising dollars or how to run your business, but I would just look into them and see if the price is right for what you want to do. And if you're in a space or a market that doesn't see any same-sex weddings and you want to do that, you're probably going to have to toss a bigger net a little bit and work in some other areas. It depends on how that important is to you and how you want to run your business. But, you can definitely, there's Gay Weddings, which is owned by Wedding Wire. So you can go to these sites and you can Google all these and you can see, but by all means, the Human Rights Campaign does wonderful things. And they're out there fighting really hard for us all the time for equal rights for everybody. They're all about equality and equal rights, their human rights. But you can go there and you can see and you can look there, and they have the Wed We Can badge. Wed We Can, I think it's just wedwecan.com, WECAN.com. I'll have Tina make sure that gets a link in there. I think it's still kind of viable. Some of these sites have left because the bigger sites like Wedding Wire and the Knot have purchased them and brought them all in under one umbrella. But again, hopefully we won't have to have a whole section for gay weddings. But I think as long as this generation is the generation that knows how to use Google, they're going to continue to search for things like that. So we may always have to have gay weddings just to be able to be found and to be able to service them. So there are plenty of places. If you're a teacher, PFLAG, anything that you can get involved in your community, and most communities have a local a chapter, and most communities have a gay and lesbian center. There's all kinds of projects. It Gets Better project out there. There's all kinds of things that you can show your same-sex couples that you support them. I honestly don't know that it's going to make them pick up the phone and call you more. But the more you talk about it and the more you blog about it, and that's another key. if you don't have any same-sex weddings to show, maybe you just blog about it. Maybe you talk about, I'm so excited to celebrate marriage equality. I believe in all couples should get married. And, if you have to link back to 100 of these different publications, at least you're linking back to stories and photos that give credit to somebody so that you're not taking the credit and you're not misleading anybody. And I feel the same way, like I said earlier. Don't mislead your straight couples either. Show what you know how to do so that they can trust and believe you. And, the fake it till you make it thing doesn't always work for me. I think you should just always be working and always improving and always striving to be Fabbo. How can I find out if there's other gay wedding pros in my area? I took that question simply because of what I was speaking about earlier. I don't know. Like I said, if we don't know that you're there, couples aren't going to know that you're there. And I think, again, it's just being authentic and asking. If anybody walks up to me and asks, I'm very open. What I would love to tell you that the gaydar goes off and we know, but I can't say that that's true, depending on what market you're in and the area that you service. But, again, you just ask. Reach out and say, hey, I'm getting ready to do this couple, or, if you have any same-sex couples, I'd love to partner with you, or I'd love to do something, and just get the conversation started, guys. Just have an open conversation like me. If you ever need to know something, you text or email, and I'm going to give you the most honest, upfront, sometimes too crucial and too honest answer, but I'm going to always be authentic, and I'm always going to speak the truth, and I'm going to use my voice to do so, because I do believe I want to see equality across the wedding industry for pros like myself as well as same-sex couples. So, yes, there are definitely... start an LGBT wedding group. We have all kinds of other groups. Maybe if you're in a big market like Chicago or Atlanta or San Francisco, there is the LGBTQ wedding community, and there's a whole separate section that's just for that. And I think that's wonderful because, again, couples are going to feel safe, vendors are going to feel safe. But just do your research, and you can Google a lot of things and educate yourself. You can't always read everything you can't always trust everything you read, and we know there's a lot of fake news, but there's a lot of really good resources. If you start the Human Rights Campaign and you started Gay Weddings or you started Equally Pro, there are some good things, United States based. There's wonderful publications, Dancing with Her and Love is Love and Love Inc. There's some other international, Australia. They have some beautiful publications and they treat things a little bit differently over there. But for here in the United States, it's you can go to Rainbow Weddings. You can also just be listed as a gay-friendly vendor in your regular listings. You have control of your knot, and you have control of your wedding wire, and you have control of your website. So if you want to put in big rainbow letters that you love gay people and want to perform wedding ceremonies, or you want to plan the next big gay wedding, by all means, that is your right to do so. It's all about letting everybody know that you're inclusive and that you celebrate diversity. And again, not just for the gay community, but for all race, religions, and others that you want to include. Hey, Bobby, is there a better phrase of calling myself same-sex wedding friendly, or should I call myself same-sex wedding pro? Is there a right or a wrong? There's a lot of subtitles. Like I said, I think most couples and wedding pros are just looking for something that says, hey, this is what I know to be true. This person does gay weddings, and this person is specialized in gay weddings, and this person has done some wonderful things with gay weddings. And aside from all those things, they were just generally good at heart. So I don't know that there's a couple different words that you can use. I just cannot stress enough to be gender neutral. Packages that are designed for same-sex couples may be more appropriate. And if you have that questionnaire, so when Sally and Mary, or Sally and Susie, or Sally and whomever, Sally and Ray may come in, and Ray may be transitioning, may be transgender, may have, anything that comes across like that, and they're open in telling you that this is a same sex or this is a LGBTQ plus, have a questionnaire made. Go ahead and make a questionnaire just for them. Asking the questions, again, with the right intentions and a little more sensitivity so that you know what to ask. And these couples will tell you. And these couples are going to say to you, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is our ideas. Now we need you to facilitate it as the wedding expert. So I'm not so sure that you need to call yourself a wedding friendly or same-sex specialist. I think if you just say that you're welcoming and open and that you'd be thrilled to work with any couple that says I do, I think that's just an easy way to start and let everybody know that everyone's welcome there. I want to make sure that I make a great first impression with my gay couples. Aside from taking off bride and groom, is there anything else that I can be doing? We've kind of already talked about that. I mean, don't make your contact form, have to put the bride's name in. Just make it, name your name and fiance, because if you make it a bride, sometimes these same-sex couples might just have to fill out a name, and they might just put Susie in there so that they can get information from you or get to ask you a question. So even if, and it just helps you along, your straight couples are going to know the same thing. Your straight couples are going to say, hey, my name and my fiance's name, what venue, and blah, blah, blah. It works both ways, so might as well just make the change and keep it set up that way, and then that way everybody is included and you're not offending anybody. I don't know that you need to go into big detail about saying, in your bio or anything that, and that was one of the questions, can I talk on the website about my brother being gay? Would that entice gay couples to use me? I don't know the answer to that. If you want to share your bio and you want to share a story about a gay brother, that's great. I don't know if any couples will hire you just because of that. Perhaps they will think you're more sensitive to their needs and understanding, especially if you come from a family that maybe disowned your brother, and you can really appreciate the pain and suffering that some of these guys and ladies go through to get to the I do portion of the day. Maybe they'll think that you be a little bit more embracing and comforting. And I got to tell you, wedding vendors, especially wedding planners, and I know I can say this for Tina as an officiant, but some of these couples who are going through a really hard time and have been displaced since they were very, very young and kicked to the curb, and I know that's a hard word, but that's what happens. And I've attended far too many suicide memorials because somebody did not feel they were accepted because of who they were, and they didn't think their life was worth living because somebody showed hatred to them. So, suicide is a big thing in the gay community, and when you get ready to say married, and when you get ready to say I do, you just might not have that family person there. You may not have that mom to help you with the wedding planning. You may not have that dad to take that dance with. So often wedding planners and officiants become that maternal figure, and couples get really, really close with you because you're the one that's helping them plan, and you're the one that's taking on that role that I wish I had my mom going dress shopping with me. Don't be surprised, wedding planners, that if you're not dress shopping, I know that to be the case for a lot of couples, that they don't know how to do that and they don't know who to ask. And again, wedding planners, if you're wearing your heart on your sleeve and you are doing it from the right place, these couples will bless you tremendously with the love and the care that they give back to you, and you're going to become lifelong friends. Not that you don't do that with your straight couples, but I just think it takes on a different role. Yes, you can have a bride whose mother has passed away recently with cancer, or recently a car accident, or recently has been deceased. Same with a dad. And all of a sudden, it's dress shopping time, and it's very emotional. Often the wedding planners or the officiants become that person that I'm going to cry in front of, or I get to celebrate that with. So don't be surprised, wedding planners. Like I said, I can speak from Tina. When she sits down and writes vows for people and she hears their stories, they kind of open up. And you get the ugly cries, and then you get the good cries. And it's very, very, very emotional and powerful and very moving. So you're a very important role, and I think most same-sex couples know that the people and the vendors that they hire play a very important, vital role to their wedding actually happening, being successful, and while they know they legally get married, they need wedding pros that are going to love and support them unconditionally so they can throw a hell of a party. Are there any gay and lesbian trends that are at every single wedding that every wedding wants to do? I can't really answer that question either. I can tell you that contrary to popular belief, Dancing Queen is played at most of my straight weddings as well as my gay weddings. And that, yes, It's Raining Men is played at gay weddings, and let me tell you, the dance floor is packed. Do gay men dance more at their weddings? Abso-freaking-lutely. And I love it. And but by the same token, I can't tell you that's just because they're gay. I can't say that. I can just say that they love to dance, and that's that group. I don't know that gay men are any faster to get ready. I know a couple of gay guys who took forever to get dressed, and they even changed clothes a couple times throughout the day because fashion was important to them. I can tell you that many of our same-sex couples, the food and the entertainment is a priority. They want great food, and they're food snobs, and they want great cocktails. But I think most of us could raise our hand and say, hey, that was my wedding last weekend for the, two doctors or Mark and Mary. I think, again, the closeness and the similarities in same-sex weddings and gay weddings are so much more narrower than you think. So I can't really say that there's a gay and lesbian trend. I know that some of the questions that you're going to have to ask and be asked are, you have two brides. Are they each going to do a father-daughter dance? Are you going to do those together? Are you going to give each dad their own time as he would have on a straight wedding day? Are both grooms going to dance with their mom? Those are trends that we have in the straight world, in the straight wedding world that we live in. But again, those trends have been around longer than most of us have been doing business. And I think every market and every culture has their own trends. So down here in the South, you bury the bourbon. I've been doing weddings for 37 years. It's been around for a while. I don't know that it was a tradition that you don't want to do. Most Southerners just do it. Most people cut the cake at a wedding. And no, not all gay weddings are a rainbow cake. But man, let me tell you, they're pretty good, and they're great to cut. They make for a great photo op. But not every couple does that. Are you going to have two grooms cakes? Those are traditions that are in straight weddings that easily transform over into a same-sex wedding. And again, it's what's going to reflect the couple's personality, gay or straight, transgender or not. What's going to be the best way for that couple's story to be told? And you as a wedding expert are there to help guide and answer questions. I don't think you can say, yes, you can do that. I don't think you can say, no, you can't do that. I think it's our responsibility as wedding pros to say, that sounds fabbo, but if you do that, this might happen. Or, man, that's a wonderful idea, but if we go too long, this is the consequence that might happen. And again, these are adults, and most of them are educated, and even the ones that have no idea what you're talking about are going to be open to listen because they trust you, and they're investing in you. And from the minute you communicate with them, and you come back with, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, congratulations, and you don't start in with, well, which one's wearing a suit, or which one's wearing a pant, or who's going to be the bride and who's going to be the groom. Once you get past those nerves of your own self and questions that you think you should ask, you don't really ask a straight couple that right off the bat. You don't say, okay, which one is the bride and the groom, or are you wearing a wedding dress? I mean, I know we're 2019 and I have several brides that wear pantsuits this year. But I don't think the first question on my mouth to them is, well, are you wearing a pantsuit or are you wearing a dress? Sometimes I ask, are you changing dresses? Because that's getting more and more popular. I very seldom throw a bouquet. And let's face it, gay men might want to throw a bouquet to their friends. They might have a really lovely bouquet from their gay florist or their straight florist, and they might want to throw that and participate. Not going to lie to you, we've had a gay wedding where they throw in a G-string. Whatever their traditions are family-wise, maybe that's a question that you should ask. Are there any family traditions that you all do when you go to weddings? I have a lot of those. We always play the polka. We always come together and say, we are family. Not just a gay song, but we are family is something that is predominant at most weddings towards the end. So I think that, are there any just traditions just for gay and lesbian people? No, I can't honestly tell you that I think there are. So I'm going to let you continue to do your expertise and expand on that. Hey, Bobby, are there budgets bigger at gay weddings? We kind of talked about that earlier. I don't know. I mean, I've had some very large budgets with two men getting married and, 300 some odd people and private residence and a private estate. And they partied, and it was freaking amazing, and it was awesome. It was beautiful. And I've had two gay men Tina and I both have had them that celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, and they just got married on the beach. And it was Tina officiating and I photographing, and they have 7 of their best girlfriends. And they spent the money on flying them in a weekend, so a whole Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and most of them left on Monday. They spent their budget on that experience to be with their friends and to share with their friends. Wore very nice linen suits, had a very simple ceremony, and went off for photos. And they all came along for photos. So I had a built-in wedding party, even though there was no wedding party. But it meant more to them to use their budget on a party for their friends and experience for their friends. So just like any straight couple, everybody's going to have a priority where their budget goes. So do you want to work with bigger budgets? Maybe, if you're really into details and creativity. As creatives, I think we always want to challenge ourselves. But I think we can just be just as creative on DIY weddings and try to see what we know how to do. So I'm not sure that they're a bigger budget. I can tell you, I think they're more emotional. I think everybody has a story, and we all get to the aisle somehow with our story and our struggles. But I think that the LGBTQ community comes to the ceremony section, and there's generally not a dry eye in the house, because everybody knows the years of fighting, and everybody knows that this couple might have been ridiculed, and this couple might not be there if it wasn't for their friends, and this couple has no parents. It is heartbreaking at any wedding to not have a dad walk the daughter or the son down the aisle. It's heartbreaking not to see a father-daughter dance. And it's more heartbreaking for me when I see that happen when the father is in the room, but there's no relationship. It's more heartbreaking for me when I know it's time to welcome everybody to the wedding. And normally, the dad of the bride stands up to welcome everybody. And in a lot of gay weddings, that's just not going to happen. There's nobody there to welcome anybody. And it's heartbreaking. And usually by this section of the time of the night or the day, I can see it wearing on our gay couples. I can see that they're really missing that family element. Or, they were at their brother's wedding a couple weeks ago, or 2 years ago I went to my sister's wedding and the whole family was there, and there's nobody here today. So I can tell you that I do think same-sex weddings are a little more emotional, because I think they want it. I think they fought hard to get there. And I think it was brave. And I think it takes courage to stand up there to say I do, knowing that you're probably not going to be accepted. And heck, knowing that you could probably get fired on Monday. Or knowing that you now have just did the final straw that your parents have asked you not to do. And don't talk about it. I think that's sad. I think it's hard when a bride marries a groom that is not necessarily the parents are fond of. We see that drama and you can feel it, but it's a different sense. But I can tell you that people that come to gay weddings often say to me, it's the most beautiful wedding I've ever seen, and it's just so emotionally drawn. And I don't know, sometimes it's the music that they choose, or it's just the vows that they share. Tina does an amazing job as an officiant, and she listens and guides and works with the couples. So it's a very personal vow ceremony that Tina performs. So, Bobby, is there any particular area or vendor that you feel is better served to perform that is gay versus straight? Yes, the officiant, as I was just talking about. I firmly think, I believe wholeheartedly, that gay couples really want somebody that is gay themselves, or very, very gay friendly, or a family member to perform the ceremony. Nothing with the priest or a minister or a church person. And if you're lucky enough to have that relationship with somebody that wears that collar or is that faith-based, that is their career, by all means, you need to have that person. For many of us in the LGBTQ plus, a lot of us are faith-driven, but we don't really have a safe place to go to church. But many of us are definitely faith-driven and spiritual. And Tina does an absolutely fabulous job with that. She really does take the time to get to know the couple so that the words that she speaks are true to the couple and are meaningful. And I think that even gay men appreciate Tina being a lesbian, performing, and I think lesbians appreciate that a woman is officiating their ceremony because they can relate. So I do firmly believe that an officiant that is gay for same-sex weddings, I think this is more impactful and more meaningful. And I think that aside from getting one of your really, really good friends that is probably gay to do it, I think finding an officiant that is also same-sex is just a vital role, and I think it just adds so much to the wedding. So other vendors, Bobby, is there another section that of vendors that can benefit or should be more versed in same-sex weddings? For instance, I'm a florist. Do I automatically do 2 boutonnieres? Would I automatically suggest 2 boutonnieres? Do I automatically suggest 2 bouquets? Again, guys, this is something that you need to do when you ask the questions. Do you want to wear boutonnieres? I mean, how many of your same-sex weddings that you've done in the past, if you're able to do those in the past, follow that suit and offer suggestions. And then now you at least have photos that can show that. If you're doing a style shoot, make sure you do some with boutonnieres and some without. Make sure you show some brides carrying a bouquet, and make sure you show some brides not carrying a bouquet. Show the women both places. Show the women carrying it. Show the women not carrying it. This is your chance at a style shoot to do that. It's kind of like straight weddings too. How many of you guys always have boutonnieres for the guys? Sometimes it's a cost thing, and people just don't want to spend the money. But there's no right or wrong. Both brides may want to carry bouquets, whether one's wearing a suit or one's wearing a dress, or heck, they're both wearing a dress. And just because you have 2 grooms does not mean, again, like I said, you're going to have a bigger party or a bigger dance. Don't think they're going to come in with more of a fashion idea. Just like don't think that your lesbians are going to be the ones that are going to build all kinds of props and all kinds of sets. Those stereotypical things sometimes are true, but not always happen. So, no, you may not need to have 2 boutonnieres or 2 bouquets, but just educate yourself on being able to explain and maybe show why you could have them different. Maybe just up them and make them reflect each girl's personality or each guy's personality a little bit better. Hair and makeup. Hair and makeup sometimes will take longer because you will have the double brides, and you're going to have maybe more women across the board. You're going to have women that need to come from the groom's side and come over because you're going to have both. Wedding parties are no longer just bridesmaids on the bride's side and grooms on the groomsman's side. It's 2019, and I've been seeing this trend since 2017, where I have men and women on both sides. I have several weddings this year where the groom's best person standing up with him was his best woman, and I've had plenty of maid of honors be man of honors. So that is a trend that I'm thrilled to see changing, just like I'm thrilled to see nobody has to be all matchy. Everybody has their own personality. I think with this future generation of millennials and Z generation, we're going to start seeing individuality is what's important to them, but cohesive, and it all looks great. So hair and makeup people, you might have to be there a little bit longer. You're going to have to plan a timeline a little bit longer. More people may need hair done. And don't forget, a lot of gay men style their hair as well. So you need to maybe ask yourself, are you good at styling men hair? When you offer the services and they reach out to you. And most of the grooms and most of the guys are going to say, hey, I have 8 guys plus myself. I want to make sure that you can style my hair if they don't go to their own stylist or their own barber. But that is an area that, again, you have to be willing to understand and say, okay, I can try that. I'm going to offer some trials. I'm going to see what happens beforehand because, God forbid, we're not going to try this on an actual wedding day. But that's when engagement photos come into play. And that brings us up to the next question. Bobby, how do I pose a same-sex couple? I'm going to say the same thing that I've been saying for years. Nobody taught me how to pose a straight couple. Nobody told me this is how the guy should stand. This is how a girl should stand. I understand my couples. I talk to my couples. Some are more affectionate. Some are touchy-touchy. Some want to do a lot of PDA. They just fall into a groove when they're together. I always ask, is there a side that you like better than yourself? Obviously women's hair part one way or guys' hair part one way. I always ask, and they kind of always fall into where they want to naturally be when they're with each other. So I don't really know how to tell you how to pose somebody differently. they'll help you. I personally don't find it any harder. I have plenty of photographers who have told me they really struggle with posing two men. And I don't know if that's just because they're guy photographers and aren't really sure what to do. But again, practice, go out and again, get a gay couple and practice. Find somebody that you can work on this with. And of course, just research and look at other photos and photographers, and learn from other people that are working same-sex weddings. That's why engagement sessions are just easy. You break the ice right off the bat and they get to see you, straight couple or not. Engagement sessions are always a plus to be done. And I know sometimes in destination markets you can't do that. But I get asked that question all the time, and I don't really have an answer. I can't tell you that it is one way over the other. Going out for photos, I can tell you that as a gay person myself, I always am looking over my shoulder. I think it's just how I grew up, and I'm always watching. Sometimes the joke is that's why I multitask when I'm photographing. I see something going on the left-hand side of my left eye. I shoot with one eye and I shoot with one-handed. So I'm always ready for something that's going on. But I tell all my couples, straight or gay, if they want to go to certain areas of a town, we have to be extra careful. We have to be mindful that we might not be in the safest place. And I tell all my couples that my same-sex couples, that there are certain areas here in the South that we're going to go out walking with this wonderful wedding party. Two brides obviously stand out really, really fast before two gay men do, or two grooms do. And we have been, we have been called names. We've been bullied. We've had things thrown at us, and we've been preached at. But we still go and do wedding photos, and my lead comes from my couple. They want to proceed or they don't. Some couples don't want to go out for photos. They want to stay in a private venue. A lot of venues that same-sex couples go to are more secluded, and I think that's one of the reasons they're sought after. We have several like that here in Savannah, Hilton Head, and St. Simons, that once you get there, you don't have to go anywhere. The photo ops are plenty, and it's not so much about taking, quote, those vacation photos, putting you in front of something pretty. It's about capturing the moments of the loved ones that come to celebrate you, which is what I love about photography, and as I explained earlier in the other episode. But you just have to be mindful to your couple that I'm willing to go out on the street and capture you guys all happy and wonderful, but we have to be careful that somebody won't throw something at us or boo or hiss us. And heck, let's face it, there's been some straight weddings where I have had in the course of my years where I have been out walking with the couple, and we have had an ex drive a car up and just make a big old scene. So I think there's drama on both sides of the fence when it comes to scorn love. All right, guys. So hopefully those questions, I did go through and pick out some of the ones that I thought hadn't been asked all the time, but I wanted to share my answers and again, my point of view, my podcast, my point of view, candid conversations about how to be more inclusive and how to let couples and wedding pros know that you're an ally in the LGBTQ plus community. And again, if you want to know all the initials and you want to know all the terms, research. Just be careful before you go asking the questions. But the more information you have, just in weddings in general and about people in general, I think will help you along the wedding life as well as your everyday life as well, and allow you to be more accepting. But above all, everybody, just let everybody know that you're open to celebrate everybody's love stories. And if you don't want to do it, then please don't do it. I would rather you not participate than to do something that goes against every grain. But I love all of you that are accepting, and I respect all of you. It takes courage to want to rally around us, and it takes courage to want to be in this community. And the wedding industry is full of courageous people, both as vendors and those that we have as couples. So I thank you for hanging out with me. Again, I thank you for all your questions. Thank you for being allies. Thank you for showing your rainbow. Thank you for sharing your pride. Thank you for being accepting. And thank you for wanting to learn. And thank you for asking to learn. Because with education, and the more we know and the better we all know, the more we can serve not only ourselves, but our clients as well. So everybody go out and have a fabulous wedding weekend. And again, happy Pride. And cheers to being allies, and cheers to being supporters, and cheers to being on the right side of history.
Thanks for joining us. We hope these conversations will take you into your wedding weekend with a little more confidence, proud of what you do and how you serve your clients. Maybe you even picked up a business tip or two. Till next time, be Fabbo.